And not everything about the country is bad, okay? Not everything about, in fact, you'd leave this country, go to other African countries, you'd appreciate some aspects, not all. You wouldn't appreciate the bad roads of the electric power supply, but you appreciate some aspects of the country. Like 2022, what is it based on? It's based on they score countries based on how many countries permits to be in that country at the airport, you know. Then you do add all those things to your score to now rank you. And some things are within the control of countries affected. Some things are without the control of countries affected. Nigeria may not have as many countries like Singapore and Japan, which they can visit visa-free. That's it. You know, it's up to those countries. It's their foreign policy, you understand, or the immigration of the number of people coming from the country. You know, so it's not always negative, you know. There's not the likes of Chad, Niger Republic to visa-free. It's so, I mean, people are lamenting.
No. This would be some bilateral agreement. And if you enter into, you know, some kind of agreement with a country, you know, there's a lot on our plate. And, you know...
there are countries you can visit visa-free or visa on arrival with a Nigerian passport, you know. So the thing is, it's not a problem. You want a visa, apply for a visa.
No.
Even if you have an American...
They are no absolute. They're just relative, and that's the truth. So nothing is bad to his end. No one has said that you have perfect countries. They are not perfect countries, including there are just some basic things that should be there. And I think it's okay if Nigerians actually share the sentiment and saying, oh, we are the giant of Africa, we're below this, we're below some countries. That's what it is. But does not take out the fact that, you know, you don't have pluses.
Should I tell you the leading reason why the countries do not want to give Nigerians passports like they do other nationals?
And we have mentioned some of these issues.
The giants of Africa. I said this has nothing to do with the country. Some of the citizens themselves have engaged, not all, some. And you know, a few bad eggs will give the whole a bad name. So that's it. You know, if someone gets into maybe a scam, for instance, in a country, I mean, because even the Ghanaians are suffering as well. You know, Ghanaians are getting to scam in another country, and then they now said, okay, you know what, we have to pull down and reduce the number of people we get into the country. When Nigerian does something, it gets blown out. And then they begin to allow it to affect their immigration policy. You know, we're talking about the UK, which we'll get to in a moment. But some comments online, it now became sort of not a back and forth, but someone said, you know, Nigerian passport now ranks below Niger, Chad, Zimbabwe, Uganda, and others. I think it's a call to, first of all, not panic, but secondly, know that it's a collective responsibility. That's all I'm saying. So there's comments here. You know, a Ghanaian saying that even their passport is not ranking too well, and she's also claiming that well, let me not go into this. This is controversial.
No, but Kofi, in the course of this conversation, I had mentioned that yes, we know that. At the end of the day, if you look at all of this visa-free, whatever you talk about, some of those criteria they have mentioned, it has to do with some bilateral relations. But on the other hand, I also mentioned that the reputation of Nigerians, the behavior of Nigerians outside of Nigeria has also contributed, some Nigerians. I also narrated her experience in one of these countries, France, and she said her bag was actually snatched at the airport. And you know what she was talking about? The fact that...
Bag was snatched at the
yes,
airport.
it was snatched at the airport. She wanted to raise an alarm. So some people came, security personnel came and told her, you know, not to scream, that if she screamed that people were going to run, she should stay put, they were going to be on top of the issue. Okay. And she said that up until that moment, nobody heard it. Nothing has been done. So it's not that crimes don't happen in this country. It's not like you don't have all of these mishaps. It's not like in these countries you don't have the suburbs, you don't have the bad roads. But I'm just saying that the basic things. If you ask, you know, a common Nigerian now, if you ask an average Nigerian, that would be the word why they want to leave this country. I thought, you know, because of power supply. You know, they're just basic 120,000 ticket. People are there that will buy. They will pay for it. We're just saying make these things, the basic things of life, just available, and that's it. But I think we need to move on.
We have to move on. Interesting one there. Well, of course, UK suspending priority visa application in Nigeria is another one that got tongues wagging. You know, it's a go apply to travel to London. Crisis arising from the invasion in Ukraine. Of course, what we should also put up that it was really trending about why would they be signing up to receive Ukrainians. But the UK when did they sign up to receive Africans into their homes? Every small thing, a black man will shout racism. But let's leave that for another day. So the UK government is saying that this new policy is because members or extend their say rather in the UK. And I don't know whether this is an excuse to just put
in a global village, and anything that happens affects us. Policy, which would now be seen, will be referred as a policy that would affect others. I mean, they are within their space. Yeah, within their space to act in that capacity. In this case, it's a humanitarian concern. And if you understand what's happening between Russia and Ukraine, the humanitarian corridor has been open. It's just, human. When we talk about the fact that the world has lost, I would also think that apart from the United Kingdom, that you have other countries also acting in this direction, having policies that would ensure that people or persons in this war zone are protected. So it's actually in course. First of all, if they decide, like I'd say, it's a country, it's a sovereign nation, see that as a humanitarian effort, to protect and ensure that there's succor, there's refuge for those who are in this war-torn zone.
All right. So this is a temporary measure by the UK government just so they can focus on the Ukraine crisis and taking in those families that need to be taken in. Are these UK citizens doing this? The much you can take on our trending segment right here on The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa.
Well, Seize it for upcoming artists to blow.
Time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect.
And Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a...
Welcome to your favorite program, The Moment of Truth, brought to you by the Citadel Global Community Church. Our God is a God of salvation, far above all principality and power, and might and dominion, that regardless of what happens in this season, you will escape. Say to your neighbor, there is no peace for the wicked.
The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's precious possession.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Moment of Truth with Pastor Tunde Bakari, Sundays, 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome back. It's The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Time for Off the Press. We have Opuna Bonkotaria, who's on standby. He joins the conversation in no time. Opuna Bonkotaria, it's good to have you join us this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Bessie, and good morning, Kofi.
All right, let's take a look at the leadership. I beg your pardon. The Punch newspaper this morning. We'll take a look at the bold caption on the Punch and the banner junction. Neck holds Thursday. APC raises cost of chairmanship form to 20 million naira as fuel crisis. Nigeria's inflation hit 15.70% in February. Senate proposes airlines bailout. Operators insist on flight suspension. Nigeria recorded 1.94 trillion naira foreign trade deficit in 2021. This is according to a report. Just before we move away from the Punch newspaper this morning, you have police protesters clash as truck crushes Lagos Okada rider and passenger. That unfortunate incident that happened for doling out fuel souvenirs at party. You also remember that one. And we take this one quickly. Kogi carpets Lukman for attacking Bello, NLC falls ex-PGF boss. And the Kebbi bandits invade Niger, kill DPO and 2 policemen, 4 vigilantes. These are the headlines on the Punch newspaper this morning.
Of inflation. Of course, with the latest inflation figures released, the following riders to that headline. Headline inflation rose marginally 15.7% in February. Figures deceptive, politically influenced, or insists. Experts seek removal of import duties on imported petroleum products. Resuscitate moribund refineries to boost availability, FG urged. And last year's trade deficit hits 1.94 trillion naira, 96% higher than in over delay tactics. Gunmen kill 4, because that's on the top trending segment, saying that military of the NNPC had said they would be doing that. APC convention, Buni's team returns, takes charge in Abuja. And finally, from the Guardian newspaper, only 4 doctors available to 10,000 Nigerians, says FG. Details on page 4.
Away from the Guardian, we take a look at the leadership paper this morning, and might just be dominating all of the papers. You have, as Buni finally takes charge, INEC confirms attendance of APC NEC meeting tomorrow. As Buni finally takes charge, INEC confirms attendance of APC NEC meeting tomorrow. Party pegs chairmanship form at 20 million naira. Drama in court as lawyers fight over representation in APC's suit to vacate court order. While we're training convention protocol officers, Ganduje is quoted on that. And you also have the PDP NEC to produce schedule for party primary. Nigeria's 2022 budget deficit may hit 10 trillion naira as oil export drops. Reps vow to recover 2.6 trillion naira oil and gas debt. And you have donor funding for family planning declined by $10 million in 3 years. Zelensky seeks Canada's support for Ukraine no-fly zone. And these are the headlines on the leadership.
The Nation newspaper sticks with the politics, as some of its counterparts have, this time turning its searchlight or spotlight to the People's Democratic Party, quite curiously, with the headline, Confusion in the PDP over plot to stop Atiku Saraki Tambuwal. Confusion in the PDP over plot to stop Atiku Saraki Tambuwal and the rider. Clash over returnee defectors rocks National Caucus meeting. An ex-VP 2023 poll, our last chance. That's about the PDP. Akpanu Doedege, APC convention plans on course. Incessant grid collapse, power outages and businesses. Incessant grid collapse, power outages and businesses analysis, a piece on pages 2 and 3 of the Nation newspaper. UK suspends student work family visas for Nigerians. Gunmen kill 7 policemen, 11 others in Ebonyi, Kebbi, Niger states. And UK terminates COVID-19 restrictions from Friday. More from the Nation newspaper. Nigeria fails to meet OPEC's 1.78 million barrels per day quota. That's not too good news in a time when the country is looking for money. High food fuel prices push inflation to 15.70%. Women protest enters 8th day. They're still there if you had forgotten. And finally, from the Nation newspaper, 35 million Nigerians have no access to telecoms, says NCC Chief Dan Bata. Even if they did have access, how would they pay for the telecom services? All right, let's turn our attention now to our crack analyst, Opunabo Inkotaria, who joins us live on Off the Press. Miss Inkotaria, thanks for your time. Let's turn our attention to the leading paper on the front page of Nation newspaper. They're alleging confusion in the People's Democratic Party over a plot to stop Atiku, Saraki, and Tambuwal. Also, a clash over the returnee defectors is rocking the national caucus of the party. What are your thoughts on the PDP and this alleged confusion in that party?
That segment of your question, Kofi, but not the second one. So when I'm done answering the first one, then you will help me repeat the second one. Nevertheless, when you talk of confusion in the PDP, you have competing and contending interests. You know, Tambuwal is interested in the presidency, Saraki is interested in the presidency, Atiku is interested in the presidency. You also have Wike interested in the presidency. And so each of them will try to outsmart the other. And that is exactly what is going on right now. They want to emerge as the candidates, the flag bearers of the PDP. And these characters or persons I have mentioned are not human beings who could just wave, dismiss with the wave of the hand. No, they all have that clout. Now, the issue is, like I listened to Atiku yesterday, when he said the South, and namely Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan, sorry, the South, namely Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan, PDP produced the two of them all in the 18 years or 16 years of its reign. It will therefore be unfair for it to be zoned to the South again. It should remain it should be the son of the North. That was the argument of Atiku Abubakar yesterday, I think, at the board meeting, BOT meeting. But the PDP, from snippets of information cobbled together, I think is poised to zone the presidency to the South. And that is where the confusion is. Tambuwal is from the North, Saraki is from the North, Atiku is from the North, Wike is from the South. How do you balance it, strike a compromise without necessarily stirring any form of problem that might truncate or jeopardize the chances of the party in the forthcoming general election? That is where the confusion is. That is the conundrum. So that is the crossroad.
Okay. Let's also take a look at the Punch newspaper now. It talks about Buni's men fighting hold on APC and Akpan Odoyedega returns to office. So we already understand, you know, the fact that you have Buni on this other side. You also have Bello on the other hand. And underneath you have the caption, the convention remains shaky. Court fails to lift up injunction and NEC holds Thursday. Now the cost of chairmanship form has been increased to 20 million as aspirant also ignore the issue of consensus. So, but let's look at it. The issue right now, if you look at the Constitution 183, 1999 as amended, it talks about having a governor, a sitting governor not occupying any office whatsoever. And so between these two persons now, he's returning, he was holding space for him. All of this illegality, because some persons have said that whether or not you have Buni being, the chairman, or you have Bello, it's still invalid. But let's share your thoughts on some of these issues that have been raised by the Punch newspaper.
It's a convoluted issue, my dear sister Mercy. I say convoluted because ab initio, while from the beginning of the caretaker committee, APC had breached the laws because a sitting governor, going by the Constitution, is not expected to handle any other executive office during the currency of his tenure. So that is one breach, and that is one legal cup that must be cleared. Otherwise, most of the exercises, if there is no judicial pronouncement on it, all what APC will do, including the convention, will amount to nullity. Having said that, Bello said is an acting chairman, and the Bello committee is not known in law, and INEC has so said, because there are procedural obligations. If you want to effect a change in your leadership, at least 21 days notice to INEC, and that letter inviting INEC to honor your convention must be duly signed by the chairman and the secretary of the party that is within the cognizance of INEC and the law. The Bellows committee is not known, and if the Bellows committee are gone ahead to conduct some assaults, Buhari, if you listen to Aerofat, he spoke authoritatively that they had a meeting with Buhari, and Buhari was the one who authorized the change in leadership. Aerofat said so, and Aerofat is not somebody that will lie. He might be stubborn, he might be an obdurate person, but he's a man of rectitude. To me, I don't know what the opinion of him is anyway. And he said they had just finished from a meeting with the president, and Bello was the new chairman. Bello came and said he was the acting chairman. Now there is a somersault because they have taken into consideration the legal implications, and that might eventually remove APC from the ballot in the forthcoming general elections. That was why they brought back Bumi. Bumi is not on any sick leave. That was just a subterfuge, a mild way to save him from any form of embarrassment. He is not on any sick leave. We all know that. But he has been brought back so that the convention could take place. Otherwise, and that's why they say the convention is shaky. But right now, in Rivers State and in Zamfara State, in the 2019 general elections.
Okay, interesting.
So I have a conviction that the convention will take place. And that convention will be superintended by Bumi and no other person.
All right. Thank you.
But then, there are these other legal hurdles to be crossed. The issue, because they have about 208 cases in court. So I wonder how they are going to come out of this legal culture.
You keep
because the issue of whether the propriety of the caretaker committee is still in dispute.
Okay, Kotare, we need to move on.
So if the court to make a pronouncement to say that a sitting governor cannot chair a caretaker committee, then which means APC will not even be on the ballot.
All right, we need to move on.
The convention will be a nullity.
Yes.
And the convention is a condition precedent.
Okay, so can you hear me, please? Yeah. We need to move on. Yeah, we need to move to the next story. Yeah, but I think the crisis, the inflation has hit 15.70%. It's headline.
Sorry, I didn't get that. I didn't get you.
Amidst Nigeria's fuel crisis, as captured on the front page of the Punch newspaper, amidst Nigeria's fuel crisis, the inflation has hit 15.7%. I don't know what the zero is doing there, but 15.7% in February. So this means the general price level has increased, the prices of goods and services in the country. Before 2015, the inflation was sub 10%, below 10%. It never exceeded 10%, which was good for the Nigerian economy, and some would say a miracle. But we've been grappling, trying to push it down for years. Now it's spiked up to 15.7%, which means that prices of goods and services have also skyrocketed. This is in the middle of a fuel crisis. Mr. Inkotaria, your thoughts on this? Basically what Nigerians are having.
Yes, I agree. The Nigerians are being asphyxiated by our economy. No doubt about that. But I think we should commend the Buhari's government that we are not talking of inflation rate of 30%. We are just talking of 15 point something percent. considering the cataclysmic leadership that we are facing. If it's just 15.7%, then let us commend the government. I am just being sarcastic before people start reading all kinds of meanings into it. In other words, I'm not surprised, because this is one government that is rudderless. It has no direction. A government that is not interested in the welfare of Nigerians. Even when the country is burning, you have a president that is frolicking, globetrotting. He's even responsible for the crisis in APC. That's the kind of leadership we have. There is no electricity. There is no fuel. All organizations are on strike. ASU on strike. The College of Education lecturers are threatening strike. The police is threatening strike, even though the IG has denied it. But that should tell you our political engine is overheated. Social climate is still inflammatory. And economic factors are highly combustible. We are headed slowly, but steadily, or even cautiously, if we are ready to go with anarchy, occasioned by bad leadership. Nigerians are suffering. There is no money, no food, no job, nothing in this country. And you say it's not a failed state. How else can you describe a failed state?
All right, Okonabon Kataria, just quickly on this one as we move away. It's about the economy, and it's on the Leadership newspaper this morning. It talks of Nigeria's 2022 budget deficit that may hit 10 trillion naira as oil export drops. Now, following the crisis of course, the conflict in Ukraine and Russia, it has become, according to some economic experts, they are projecting that this would have been a better time for exporting countries to take advantage. But here we are, what we're even going to be generating as revenue, we're exceeding that. We're going to be spending more than we're generating. We're looking at 10 trillion for 2022 in terms of exceeding our revenue. And the fact that we're not also going to meet the OPEC, quota that has been put for us. How does this really make you feel? And the question is, what can we do to get out of this?
I really didn't get your question because you have the noise by the background. However, let me.
So it's about. Can you hear me now quickly? Let me take that again. It's about the Nigerians' 2022 budget deficit that may hit 10 trillion naira as oil export drops.
Yeah, so what is the question?
So the question now is, the countries of the world are following the crisis in Ukraine. It's a greater time for oil exporting countries, to earn more.
Yes.
But here we are not being able to meet the quota for being put out by OPEC, and we're going to be, spending more than we're going to be generating.
Countries will earn more because they don't export their raw material. They don't export their crude for countries outside to refine and sell to us again. So they maximize profit. But what is going on right now? Our refinery is working. The refineries are just conduit pipes. We export. Then to foreign countries, they refine the crude there, and we now import again. It's simple economic. You don't need to even be a graduate. You don't need to have a problem with the name on your certificate, whether there is an A or an N, to know what that is going to happen. You're going to be faced with a lot of problems when you do that. It's simple. It is not as if Nigerians are not intelligent, but because the man at the helm of affairs, I'm on national telly. But because the man at the helm of affairs, I'm very sorry to say this, knows nothing about the economics of politics, of oil. He's been deceived. His lieutenants are feeding facts on the so-called turnaround, on the so-called oil, on the so-called this. And that is what is happening. They place their own interest ahead of the Nigeria's interest. That is where we are now. The Auditor General, what did he say? He said, how many million barrels missing cannot be accounted for? That's what the Auditor General said a few days ago. How can people make profit? It's not possible. When those that are supposed to be protecting the economy are looting the economy, where will the profit come from? These are executive armed robbers. Executive armed robbers in office.
Okay.
That's what it's going on.
Openable, let's remember you said you're national TV.
Excuse me.
You know,
let us be as frank as we can if we have to effect a change in this country. Let us be sincere. If we have to effect a change in this country, you asked me a question. Openable, is the problem electricity? Why can't you come on air? And I said no. Why? Because there is no electricity. Stick true to power. If we must ensure that things change. Let us stop embarrassing facts. What's the difference between a man who loots, who defrauds, and a man who carries a gun? Tell me what's the difference. There's no difference. In fact, the man who carries a gun is better than the man who loots. Because the man who carries a gun will probably rob one man. But the man who is in office that loots has robbed millions. And that is the bane of our society.
Okay.
Well, Openable, we have to, let you go at this point in time, and that's because we're really out of time. We do appreciate you making our time despite all of the, hustle and all of the difficulties that we're faced with.
We hope you have electricity where you are.
Sorry?
I said we hope you have power supply where you are.
No, you just asked a question now. The power supply in Nigeria, that's luxury.
All right. It means you don't have power where you are.
All right, okay.
We hope for the best.
We have to let you go now.
Let's keep praying, Openable and Kotaria, for hopefully the light will come back. Thank you very much.
Well, it's obvious that people are not affected by the economy. You're looking so sweet, both of you.
Thank you. It's a
well, it's part of the job. Thank you
all
so much for being part of the show this morning.
All right, my dear.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
We appreciate it. Well, that's the size of our conversation this morning on Off the Press. And Openable and Kotaria is a public affairs analyst. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we look forward to having more of you on the show. We will take a break now. But just before that break, let's let you know what happened today in history.
Do you know any female between the ages of 18 to 25 who is currently unemployed or an undergraduate who is passionate about technology? Africa Agility is empowering young females between the ages of 18 to 25 with tech skills ranging from
product management,
web development, artificial intelligence, data science, digital marketing, machine learning, blockchain technology, agile, networking, and cybersecurity through partnership with Cisco. Here is your chance to learn these tech skills for free. We offer a variety of instructor-led and self-paced programs, both physical and virtual. To be a part of our programs, join our community using the details on your screen. Africa Agility is slowly reducing the poverty rate in Africa, one girl at a time. To sponsor a female or to donate to this course, visit donate.africaagility.org. Thank you.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvaafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce
from 10 to 2 days, the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, Plus TV Africa, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajitumobi.
For me, I wanted to change that culture. I didn't believe that until you see a white man or you see a foreigner in the kitchen before you can believe that, you know, good food is going to come out of that kitchen.
You can leverage on each other's spaces and, you know, sell. We believe in Nigeria, right? We believe that Nigeria can get better. We, the youth, are the ones that can make it better.
And my products are proudly made in Nigeria.
Made in Niger, showing every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. and repeats on Saturday at 8:30 a.m.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome back. It's still the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Now to our first major conversation. After a week of confusion over its leadership, Nigeria's ruling All Progressives Congress may have finally found a resolution as the recently removed leadership of the party's caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee returned to take control of the party's secretariat. Senator John Akpanu-Doerege, who is the secretary of the committee, on Tuesday returned to the Wuse 2 headquarters of the All Progressives Congress, called the Buhari House, amidst tight security and jubilation amongst the party staff. Now, there were reported moves by some governors, including the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, to remove Akpanu-Doerege, and the chairman of the caretaker committee and Yobe State Governor Mai Mela Buni. Now, the plan allegedly was to install the Niger State Governor Abubakar Bello as a substantive caretaker chairman of the All Progressives Congress at a National Executive Committee meeting slated for March 17, 2020. However, the attempt was botched by a letter from the Independent National Electoral Commission, which affirmed Buni's leadership. Now, INEC in that letter had also stated that it would only recognize correspondences or letters from Buni and Akpan Oduadege signed by these two. Now, having been reaffirmed by the secretary, having been reaffirmed by INEC and the APC, Akpan Oduadege then returned to the party secretariat on Blantyre Street on Tuesday morning and was escorted to his office by about 4 AK-47 wielding policemen. The scribe went on to address the media at the party's headquarters, and he said that it became necessary to clarify, in his words, the event of last week, referring to the takeover of the chairmanship seat by Niger State Governor Sani Bello. Oduadege insisted that the ruling party, is crisis-free, despite all that has been going on and despite all the headlines. He also insisted the party is strong and united in giving Nigeria what he called the transformative leadership and good governance that it had promised. Now, on Monday, it was reported that President Muhammadu Buhari had waded into the leadership crisis ravaging the party, which of course Akpan Oduadege has insisted is not a crisis, after various leaders of the party took the battle for the soul of the APC to London, where Buhari himself is receiving medical attention. And of course, we had headlines like Buhari saves Buni. What exactly went on, and what are the prospects for the All Progressives Congress following this development? Joining us now to discuss this, we would like to say good morning and welcome to the Secretary of the Medical and Risk Convention Planning Committee of the All Progressives Congress, Ibrahim Oshinowo. Mr. Oshinowo, good morning to you and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Nice to be here again.
Okay, indeed. Do you agree with the headlines and talk that it was President Muhammadu Buhari who saved Buni, or do you think it was INEC who came to his rescue?
Honestly, like I did say, like I did mention in my interview with Arise TV the last time, is that our party is not witnessing any, political rank or leadership change. Governor Abulolo, aka Abulolo, governor of Niger State, our good dear brother, party leader, party man, and the core progressive, the governor of Niger State, Governor Bello, he's still the member of the CCPC. He's a deputy chairman of the committee led by Governor Buni. So what just happened is that Governor Buni right now is on a medical tour, and he has handed over the battle and reign of leadership to Governor Bello. So what happened on that? I was at the secretariat. I was invited by Rice TV. I was on here at that moment on Monday when Governor Bello came into the secretariat. Nothing unusual happened. There's a lot in the media. There's a lot, different stories, and we strongly issue, in a big political party like APC, there are some, there will be some family fractions, here and there, people feeling that the Buni-led, the CCPC will not do the convention and the rest. But at the end, so many programs is ongoing right now. Instead of forming as
Mr. Shinowa, are you there, please? The quality of your audio has dropped. I don't know if you can hear us. In case you can hear us, maybe using the earpiece, kind of background information and what you may not even see on the pages of the newspapers. So of course, he said that Governor Bello of Niger State was indeed Buni's deputy in that caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee. That's the longest name for a party committee I've heard in the history of Nigerian politics that I know. But that letter purportedly from Buni written to Governor Bello saying, I'm going to Dubai to take care of myself. While I'm going, please act in my stead. If that letter is true, and I'd like Ibrahim Oshinowo to tell us if that letter is actually authentic, because he
was actually acting.
Then it means that this was sort of like a stab in the back of Buni. I gave the party to you, and you sat on my chair, and then you said your chair. But we would like to really hear from him. I'm told we have Ibrahim Oshinowo, who is Secretary of the Medical and Risk convention committee of the APC back, okay. He's not yet back, but once he comes back, we'll put him on the these are the intrigues ahead of 2023, Mercy.
So, but we can never take out the fact that there will always be interest, and politics is interest. And every time you say politics is about the fact that that's interest, people would always act in their own interest. And so it might just be an opportunity for, you know, Bello to think that, hey, you know, why don't I grab this? But if you look at it holistically, you want to say that there's a lot. Now, you had open up on Qatari talking about another element in the party taking advantage of the fact that it is unconstitutional, because that's the biggest hit. So just imagine that you have another person who has interest, who's going to, you know, push the card and come out to say, hey, we're going to challenge the fact that you have, these are sitting governors, except I'm wrong, correct me. These are sitting governors. So it would make nonsense of the APC, and there might just be a tendency that having them on the ballot paper for 2023 might not be a possibility, and which is not it. Now, the reason, a lot of people will say, why are we, you know, you Benton talking about the APC? We need to understand that it's a ruling party, 7 years and counting. It's a lot. If you look at the seats that they occupy, you find out that, you know, at the National Assembly, they have more seats than, of course, it's a dominant party at the time. And so, very funny, with 208, because we're hoping that we'll connect with him and we'll find out what they're going to do. He also needs to verify, like you mentioned, there's some issues that you don't know, that you hear from the... So we do have him back, and Ibrahim Oshinuwo.
Yes. Mr. Oshinuwo, can you hear us, please?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, you were making a point before we lost the connection, so please, can you continue?
So, you know, we really don't have much in our party. Things is getting well. As right now, Governor Buni is the leader of the party, the leader of the CSCPC, the caretaker committee. While Senator Akpan Odoye is the secretary, and Governor Abu remains our own. He is a party man, he's a vice chairman of the committee, and we are moving forward. I can assure you, we're going to do our convention on the 26th of March 2022 by grace of God. So, you know, anybody can go to London. I've been to London, a couple of times this year, and I'm still going to be in London. So anybody can go to London. So I don't want me to get bothered about that.
But were you trying to say before we lost you that there was no crisis in the party? That all that we saw was the PDP putting headlines in the papers and making papers talk about what was not there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's it. They're just, media are just saying what is not. I can say they are prognosing, because we have credible intelligence of what PDP is trying to do via few media. I'm not saying all the media, few media, outreach, trying to create propaganda, trying to create, proxy member of APC. Some boys goes on the TV saying, different things about our party.
We saw the video of Bello, Governor Sani Bello of Niger State, sitting on Buni's chair and making some statements. And of course, we know what Governor El Rufai said. We know what Governor El Rufai and some other members of the party have said. And the party wrote. This is on record. It's incontrovertible. The party wrote to INEC to say we are planning something. We're going to have a meeting on Thursday. Only for INEC to write back to the party to say we don't recognize the signatures on this letter. We want to see the signatures of Buni and Akpan Odoye, and then we can accept this letter and be at your meeting, your next meeting. So why are you saying now telling the Nigerians that it was not true?
With due respect to the letter you are quoting first, the letter did not mention Buni or the secretary. The letter referred to them that the chairman and the secretary needs to sign. And what that means is that when Governor Buni was traveling out of the country, he only delivered a letter or transfer power to Governor Bello. At least INEC is expected, or INEC is expecting that a copy of that letter should be forwarded to them. INEC is just making a reference. It's not saying that there's issue. INEC is just making a reference that there has to be a change.
Why didn't Akpan Odoye sign the letter as secretary of the committee?
Akpan needs to do other functions. He was not in town. In fact, the letter was signed by, I think, one admin. It was not even Governor Bello that signed the letter, I guess. It was not Governor Bello that signed the letter. You are saying something about Governor Rufai. Governor Rufai is one of our best, hands. And
would you say that's a different issue because he was very clear about? That's not the case. Now, a lot of people would say you already here have mentioned that Governor
politics. Don't forget that our primary is coming in a couple of months, and different opinion, different interests is going to roll in. I don't want you to get bothered about that. Governor Rufai is just a one governor out of 22 governors and one deputy governor. Don't forget that. So he's entitled to his own opinion. You understand? If you are saying the president said, you should expect, official statement from Femi Adesina, from the chief of staff and another cabinet member. But I'm not saying, that's why I said he might possibly meet with the president, maybe via phone or he's in London, but those statements needs to be official. So we are not going to believe that just one governor is saying this and that's what. But now you can see that the party has released the timetable. Has released.
Before we go there, before we go there, sorry to interrupt you, sir. But you're insinuating that there was no crisis in the party. You're insinuating that Governor Bello didn't. That Bello addressed, there was a statement, he was captured on video. We know that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State said those who are backing Governor Buni are Yahoo governors. We know that Nasser El-Rufai has also been backing Bello. We know that the NEC meeting that was meant to hold on Thursday was meant to officially install Bello as the substantive chairman of the party. And that was why the man was the road to INEC. We know that Akpon has been around but was not allowed to function. That's why he didn't sign the letter. So why are you painting this the wrong way? Please be truthful to Nigerians.
You know what?
And stop the propaganda.
Let me make something clear to you. Are you a member of APC?
The facts are out there. The videos are there. The statements are there.
You are not a member of APC.
Why did the governor of Ondo State call some of the governors supporting Bully, and the word support itself shows that it's a crisis? Why did he call them Yahoo governors, sir?
Let me answer those questions. I guess that question is posed to me. Let me answer those questions. One, you are not a member of APC. All the information you are getting or reading from the paper or you are getting or being reported are third-party information. I am giving you an inside information. You know what? There's no issue or there's no any governor can say Mr. A is a Yahoo governor. You should ask Governor Akeredolu, who are the Yahoo governors he's talking about? In APC, we don't have a Yahoo governors. We have a credible men, character who are leading our party in different states. So he should be in the best position to discuss who is the Yahoo governor. Number two, Governor Bello, don't forget, is the vice chairman of the CCPC committee. So in absence of Buni, he has the authority to act. And when Buni arrives, he's going to take charge. And I'm sure Buni will be in town maybe today or tomorrow. And if he has contacted Buni, they are both governors. They know how things work. Little fractures that you see happen even in your family. You have issues within your kids. You have one or two issues within, and you resolve. It doesn't mean that he has to go to the market square and say there is crisis. APC is going to pull down. These are work hand of opposition, the PDP, who are sending people into our party to fuel crisis. That's what I'm saying. Don't get bothered about Governor Akeredolu. Who are the governor? Ask Governor Akeredolu to name the Yahoo governor. Okay. Ask Governor Akeredolu to name all those Yahoo governors. So we don't have Yahoo governor. If we don't have, and somebody say Yahoo, I can say somebody is a Yahoo person. I don't even know what you mean by Yahoo.
So what did the leadership of the party go to London to see President Buhari for? It reminds me of the poem Pussycat, Pussycat, where have you been? He said, I've been to London to see the Queen. What did they go to London to do if there was no issue in the party?
How can you ask a sitting governor, what do you go to London to do? I've been going to London for so many years. I can decide to go to London this morning.
It was because of the crisis.
Okay, so let's move away from that now and look at another issue. You're saying that there's no issue. Of course, you also have
at all. There's no issue.
Affirming the
fact that our party is very strong.
That Bello was actually acting at a time where you didn't have Buni around. We'll move away from that. But let's look at the issue of having a sitting governor becoming, acting, having a position and acting. And that's contrary to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, 183, that particular section of the Constitution, that says that no sitting governor whatsoever should hold any position, however. And then, because you're also having Buni here, who is a governor, and even if the APC will be tilting towards having Bello, is also a governor. So what is the party saying about this? This is unconstitutional. That has been described by a lot of Nigerians, including, those who uphold the Constitution and understand the law.
I will refer you back to Akeredolu versus PDP in the last Ondo governorship election. The Supreme Court case is a landmark case. It's clear, and I think the Supreme Court verdict has cleared that. If you look at the section you are quoting very well, no governor or deputy governor can engage in a paid job. This is not an executive job. It's a committee. It's a committee. It's not a paid job. No benefits. It's just a committee.
But the Constitution was very clear. It said whatsoever, whether paid. I mean, the word whatsoever is very explicit on its own.
But can you read the line? Can you read that?
I can't read it verbatim right now to you.
I know. I was in the Supreme Court during the verdict. Of course, it's 4-3. But Governor Akeredolu case has settled. Is a landmark case that has settled Boni's issue. That's why you don't see any litigation over that. Boni's stand is legitimate, and the committee stand is legitimate, and it's lawful at this time because there is a Supreme Court verdict on it. Don't forget that the same Boni nominated Akeredolu into sign Akeredolu's nomination form, and it has been texted from High Court, Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court, and that is a settled case. So we have a lawful and constitutional, committee to leading our party at this time. In the next couple of days, we are going to have an elected chairman that will take over from Buni, so we can move forward.
All right. We have to wrap it up. Thank you very much for your time. Ibrahim Oshinowo is the Secretary of the Medical.
But let me quickly say this. You guys are entitled to join APC.
Work as you plan for your convention. We'll be there definitely. PlusTvAfrica. Ibrahim Oshinowo is the Secretary of the Medical and Risk Committee of the APC ahead of that national convention. Interesting man. We have to move on to our next conversation. Mercy.
Of course. And when we return, we'll be looking at the issue of inflation for Nigeria and what that holds for Nigerians and the entire economy. Please stay with us.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. By no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on PlusTvAfrica, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
Welcome back to The Breakfast on PlusTvAfrica. We're looking at a second conversation as the issue of inflation for Nigeria. Nigeria's inflation rate changed direction in February as it rose to 15.70% from 15.6% recorded in the previous month. And this represents a 0.1 percentage point increase compared to the rate recorded in January 2022. Now, this is according to the Consumer Price Index report released by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. The Consumer Price Index rose by 15.70% on year from 366.8 index points recorded in February 2021 to 424.4 points in February 2022. On month-on-month basis, the headline index increased to 1.63% in February 2022, which is 0.16% rate higher than the rate recorded in January 2022. That's 1.47%. The urban inflation rate increased to 16.25%, which is part of the highlight that's in February 2022, from 17.92% recorded in February 2021, while the rural inflation rate increased to 15.18% in February 2022 from 16.77% in February 2021. Now, core inflation also rose to its highest level over 4 years at 14.01%, while food inflation dropped to 17.11% in the review period from 17.13% recorded in January 2022. The question is, what does this mean to Nigerians and her economy? We do have a guest joining the conversation. Kenny Fair is a developmental economist and lead consultant to ECOWAS Commission. Kenny Fair, it's good to have you join us this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So the question with all of the statistics that we see sounds very technical, and a common Nigerian might just be, or an average Nigerian might just be grappling with those statistics and trying to understand how this affects them and their business and what this means for the Nigerian economy. Can you please tell us what all of this means for the Nigerian economy? 15.70%.
Now, there are 5 components of sub-inflation figures. You have the CPI, which is the average composite price index. You call that headline inflation. That's the figure that keeps banded all over the world. Then you have the core inflation. Now, the core inflation is all indices minus food sub-basket index. Now, that's a very important index because it tells you the status of the general rise of all prices across the spectrum. Now, food sub-basket index is the third one. And that has been the principle that has been driving our inflation figures. So we all got concerned when in December it went up. It went up, and the reason was because of the consumption of food during the Christmas. And people consume more than the average. So we had a small uptick. But as soon as that was over, it came down in January. And then in February, we had a different reason other than food for it to rise. And I'll come to that in a minute. Now, the fourth and fifth one are the urban inflation sub-index and the rural inflation sub-index. They all tend to indicate what is going on in the rural area and in the urban areas, and where is the theater of inflation. Now, what has happened in January was that there was no longer the pressure on food, so the inflation came down. So if you look at the food sub-index, it was coming down, and it's still coming down. But we would have had a bigger drop in inflation, but for the petrol, what happened in petrol last month? The adulterated petrol that was brought in now caused massive queues, which is still going on all over the country. And that queue means that the traders and then the transporters are having to pay more for fuel, waste more time with buying fuel on the road at a much higher cost, double the cost. And then that has not only an effect. If you look at the inflation figures, that is the actual items, you see that the price of the fuel, solid fuel, gas, everything connected to fuel, their price went up significantly. And then the knock-on effect, like gas, electricity charge, all of them went up. Telling you just how fundamental that petrol issue has been. And you know what happens in Nigeria when there's a small thing, it is you have a multiplier effect. So what you have seen, the uptick you saw now, is purely because of the impact of the petrol shenanigan. That is the only reason. All other factors have been kept constant. So the general price you saw is just because of that petrol. If you look at the food sub-basket index, which has been driving inflation for the last 2-3 years, that is still going down. The figure is also gone down. All other indices went up, and they all went up because the derivatives of petrol and whatever petrol affects has gone up. They've responded.
I mean, so with the fact that we're having that, inflation rate, if you look at the headlines, that's what it's saying. It's increased to 15.70%. What does that mean to an average Nigerian?
No, see, let me explain. There are two things. When we say inflation figures, we actually use current figure against the last 12 months figure. So that is what we generally use. The moment you come into month for month, it gets very confusing. Because you may have an increase on month to month, and then you have a decrease in month to month, whereas what you are measuring is what happened 12 months ago. So I try to keep away. You confuse everybody. The moment you go on month, you just confuse everybody. Because whatever happens month to month doesn't still affect the trend. The trend is based on what happened 12 months ago.
So
that's why I don't get to that.
Yeah, so the question here is, if one sees that inflation has increased, does it mean that the people have less power to purchase? What does that really mean? That's the question.
Well, the increase in inflation shows that people are having to pay more for the same thing that they would have purchased with their money. So the purchasing power of their money has gone lower, has gone down. So that's what it means. If you were able to buy, if the inflation is 15, has gone up, and I was buying basket of tomato 1,004 last month, I may be buying it 1,005 this month. It's still the same basket of tomato. So I'm paying more for the same good. And so the money that I have is purchasing less and is going down, in relative value.
Thank you, Dr. Efe. You've talked about the impact of the fuel scarcity or the rise in fuel costs. The petrol situation in Nigeria as being a factor in the increase in this consumer price index. The National Bureau of Statistics, in that report, the CPI report released yesterday, talked about what it termed a surge in energy prices. So they're agreeing with you. But apart from the scarcity and the petrol situation in Nigeria, they're also fingering the ongoing crisis between Russia and Ukraine. Do you submit to this view?
Without a doubt, because what has happened is that the Brent crude, which is our own oil crude, has gone up. It has gone to $130 per barrel. And it goes up and down. Of course, every day it goes up and down. So that tells you that the base price for the crude is gone up. Now, that would also translate to a higher price for the, you increase the cost of refining, you bring it back, you increase the cost of transportation, and the pump price is going to go up. Just because the crude price is going up, our pump price will be going up. The only way to get rid of this is for Dangote refinery to start sending us fuel, and then also for modular refineries to kick in, or the government refineries to start, so at least we can get rid of the cost of transportation and then having to pay somebody else somewhere else to refine this crude for us, and then they will load their margin on it. That's the only way. Okay, otherwise, we are going to continue.
Yes, but
so
you talked about, of course, the headline inflation. You talked about core inflation. You talked about the food basket, and you've also rightly pointed out that the food sub index has been going down, and that is a bit surprising and strange, sort of a paradox, if you want to use that word. Why is that?
Food of price, or the price of food, the increase in energy cost and processing of the food would have pushed up the price. We could have had more drop in the food sub basket index had we not had this. In other words, if I was to guess, we probably would have had 15% inflation if we didn't have this petroleum spike, because the momentum of food coming down was very, very high. Remember that we had the rice pyramid. These rice have all been sent out to be milled by millers and then pushed into the system, and a lot of harvest going on right now. We would have had a greater impact on food price reduction, but for this petrol business.
Well, let's look at the fact that, it feels like, 7 consecutive years we've been looking at almost a double digit of talking about inflation, and that's really not good for the country. But what are your thoughts on that? 7 consecutive years, double digits.
Well, we entered the 7 years in double digit, and we're probably going to leave it still in double digit. Although there are predictions that we'll hit a single digit by 2025. But it remains to be seen. If we continue to import crude and then do all this, this subsidy, then there's no chance that we're going to meet that figure. But be it as it may, the question is, how do I feel about 7 years of continuing to be in double digit? And my answer is that I really can't see an end in sight. Everything that can be done on food is being done.
Finally, before you go, just a very quick one. Let's look at the situation in Nigeria in the light of what's happening around the world. What's the global mood and the global reality? Look at countries in the West, in the Northern Hemisphere, Europe, UK, North America. What are they going through? Are they also experiencing something similar? Because we've seen gas prices rise in the UK, even in the US and Canada. US where they sell in gallons, and Canada they sell in liters. We've seen gas prices go up as well.
Well, everybody's experiencing increases in prices for different reasons. Nigeria is experiencing it for 2 reasons. One, the global rise in price of crude, and then also what was going on the adulteration of our fuel, and then the impact on the exaggerated impact on the on the supply systems. But generally, globally, we are going to be in for a sharp rise in the price of crude and gas because the crisis involving Russia. Russia is the second largest producer of petroleum products and also of gas, supplying nearly 40% of the gas consumed by Europe. So the fact that they are likely to shut down supply to Europe means that there's more panic around the world for them to replace those supply.
All right.
So there are many more things going to happen. This is just unraveling.
Listening through having you join us on the program this morning, and always a pleasure listening to your analysis. Dr. Candy Fair is a development economist and, of course, a consultant with the ECOWAS Commission. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Well, there's a size of the conversation right here, looking at Nigeria's inflation. We just fingers crossed, of course, and we're hoping that relevant quarters will step in and ensure that everything, returns to normal. And if you missed out on any part of the conversation, it's all right to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I am Messi Bopo. Thanks for watching.
And I'm Kofi Bartels. We'll return tomorrow with more. Keep watching Plus TV Africa and have a fantastic day.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry.
You're watching Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Everyone talks about getting their dream jobs, but what does it take to get that dream job? In a religious society like Nigeria, some people resort to prayer, but did you know that sometimes the only reason you're not getting the job isn't because you don't have the credentials? Many times about how well you can defend your credentials through your presentation and communication skills during the interview. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the rate of unemployment in Nigeria rose to 33.3% in December 2020 from a 27.1% in 3 months. Interview phobia is a major issue that contributes to unemployment in the country. Some individuals are employable but don't know how to express themselves properly, present their resumes, and network effectively. An expert spoke to us about interview phobia and how it has increased the rate of unemployment within the country.
Okay, so I mentioned I struggled. I went to Lagos State University, Public University, other people who are also like you. And so sitting down in that space, I also see people like me and I feel for them.
According to Student Graduate Report, more than 50% of graduates in Nigeria disclose that communication skill is the least skill their academic education prepared them with.
Like we have a compulsory NYSC every year. I believe the government or the educational sector should do something like when they know somebody's in their final year, maybe they allow them go through a month or so, or they introduce a course and make it mandatory for them to be able to go out there and face the outside world when it comes to interviews, when it comes to networking and all of that. I've seen super amazing, intelligent people lost opportunities because they were not confident, and those who were not so smart but have built their confidence are able to get the job and get these networks and get these opportunities. Especially when you come from a Yoruba or Igbo family where you don't have to look at your dad in the eye. You get that kind of thing. So you have to learn to look at people in the eye when you talk to them. It makes them believe that you are not up to something. You're not hiding anything in your cupboard.
We're going to school or having to attend different schools, all right? They just teach us, we only have syllabus on what they've been doing so far in past years, and there's no trend of bringing in new things.
So the next time you complain about not getting a job, think
Nigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa. State Governor Nyesom Wike has accused his Edo State counterpart, Governor Godwin Obaseki, in the Ikwere local government area of the state.
Governor Wike said he owed the former national chairman of the Real Progressive Congress, APC, Adams Oshiomhole, an apology for opposing him when he insisted that Obaseki is a treacherous and ungrateful man. He said Oshiomhole was right then and had been vindicated given the recent display of ingratitude by Governor Obaseki to the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and to those who had helped him to secure his second tenure as governor.
We have voted for PDP since 1999 till now. Ask Governor Obaseki, has he done anything for PDP? Has he voted for PDP? The only election he voted was his own election when we gave him umbrella. So who has more stake in PDP? I have more stake. Because I have supported PDP always. You have never supported PDP. Rather, it was when you came to beg a bully for you to have a ticket. A bully was a DG campaign, and the bully bullied you into a government house.
Wike said Obaseki is not his match where character matters because he is consistent, sincere, and a forthright team player, and had provided formidable structure for him to win the election.
If you watch and if you ask anybody, if you go and check the DNA of Godwin Obaseki, what you see in that DNA is betrayal, serious betrayal, and ungratefulness. The DNA of Obaseki is what? Betrayal, serious betrayal, and ungratefulness.
Inaugurating the project, former Minister of Information, Professor Jerry Ghana, described Governor Wike as a courageous leader who is focused and dedicated to service. He expressed the optimism that the PDP will take over power in 2023 to restructure the federation and transform their economy.
You've been a partner, you've been someone who has really shown the kind of integrity, the kind of capacity, the kind of courage, the kind of wisdom, the kind of dedication that we would love to see.
Minister of Power Abubakar Aliyu held an emergency meeting with stakeholders in power sector over erratic power supply in the country. The meeting was held after a national grid collapse again. It was attended by a delegation from the Power Generation Companies, Transmission Company of Nigeria, the TCN, NNPC, Shell, and other stakeholders in the power value chain. Speaking at the meeting, the minister told stakeholders that they must work together to make electricity stable. He also said the federal government would not relent in its effort to ensure improvement in the power sector. There's need to continue to engage critical stakeholders in fundamental issues affecting management of Nigerian higher institutions, particularly state-owned universities. Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Council, Osun State University, Yusuf Ali, echoed this during a press conference. It was organized to hold the 6th biennial conference of the Committee of Pro-Chancellors of the State-Owned Universities in Nigeria. The 6th biennial conference of the committee is scheduled to be held at the Osun State University between the 21st and the 25th of March 2022. Addressing newsmen, the Pro-Chancellor Yusuf Ali, who is also the chairman of the organization, said regular stakeholders' engagement on issues affecting tertiary institutions.
COPSON is a peer review, optimal governance practices to ensure effective, uninterrupted delivery of high-quality university education and other services among state-owned universities. The challenges of higher education in the country and the resulting negative impact on the quality of products of the system remain a burning issue that has over time engaged the keen attention of critical stakeholders, including the pro-chancellors of state-owned universities. The 6th biennial conference promised to be an epoch-making event that will draw attention to the fundamental issues affecting higher education in Nigeria and issues of governance.
Femi Gbajabiamila said the commitment of the House to use legislative instruments to ensure transparency and accountability in managing public resources. The Speaker said the House would not hesitate in invoking relevant legislative authority on any stakeholder that failed to cooperate in the exercise.
Are appropriately accounted for. To underscore the importance of this exercise, let me make a bold statement that if there are companies that either prevaricate or refuse to cooperate in this exercise, it may be the first time in the 9th Assembly, maybe even in history, that we will need, or I personally will invoke the provisions of the Constitution and have whoever is responsible or does not cooperate with the committee, have him arrested under the provisions of the Constitution. That's how important this exercise is. If true, 2,600 billion is not child's play. And if it is true, we need to recover that.
Of good governance in this country. Because all over the world, I know of a truth that tax evasion is a serious crime. And people don't get away with it and walk around the street if they don't pay taxes. And it's only in our country here that we take it with levity. So that's why I say this is call for action.
About 2019, and our report emphasized that these payments were not made as at and when due, as at 20 can only be captured by a relevant report in 2021.
So total amount outstanding as at 1st February 2022 is $467.69 million. And out of that, MPDC owes $440.068 million. That's 94% of that amount.
The House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the circumstances that led to a train conveying passengers from Lagos to Ibadan running out of fuel midway during the journey. This followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance by the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Ndodi Elumelu. In his motion, Elumelu said the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, was for the purpose of ease and cheap movement of bulk goods and commuters from hinterlands to seaports, vice versa. He said that in recent times, there's been series of media reports of how passengers trains break down in the middle of nowhere for lack of maintenance.
We were taken aback when our Nigerians were actually traveling from Lagos to Ibadan. Mr. Speaker, in the middle of the night, the train stopped. And the excuse that was given was that there was no diesel, or that diesel finished. And this is not the first time that some of these things are happening. And when it happened, it put our citizenry in risk. What is happening now, where people can be shot at or kidnapped, that gives room for that kind of situation. So I feel that this House should look into this matter and even know what happened. Why should there be recklessness on the lives of our citizenry to the extent that a train will stop?
The Senate on Tuesday moved to re-amend the Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Bill passed in 2022 on March the 9th. This followed the consideration of a motion for recommittal sponsored by Senate Leader Yahaya Abdullahi during plenary. In his presentation, Abdullahi relied on Order 1B and 52 subsection 6 of the Senate Standing Order 2022 as amended. To move forth the amendment of the bill, he explained that the re-amendment of the bill became imperative in view of Clause 74. He placed the burden of proof on the investigative agencies rather than the defendant as recommended by the Joint Committee in its report.
The Senate observes that some fundamental issues which require fresh legislative action emerged after a critical analysis of the bill and considering the amendment that was made to Clause 74 of the bill, which placed the burden of proof on the investigating agencies, but not on the defendant, which was the recommendation of the Joint Committee, and contrary to the provisions of Article 12, subsection 7 of the United Nations Convention against Transnational Origin of Alleged Proceeds of Crime or other property liable to confiscation.
The Senate accordingly resolved to rescind its decision on Clause 74 of the bill as passed and recommit same to the Committees on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes with a view to exploring safeguard against abuse.
If you're not a culprit yourself, do you ever wonder why most Nigerians do not use pedestrian bridges while crossing the road? Some share their different reasons with us on Street Views. Take a listen.
You have to be safe. As an elderly person, I climb it to even show example to people that this is the way to go.
Most time we are always in an hurry, and you know, there is traffic everywhere and all that. So people want to just take an alternative route to get to where they are going to. It's not right, but we do it sometimes. But for those who have a challenge, maybe there should be an alternate thing the government would provide for them to cross. But if you don't have an issue, you just have to do the right thing.
I prefer crossing than using the pedestrian. There are some people who have phobia for heights, and most of us, the reason why we do use normal this thing instead of pedestrian is because we felt it's stressful. Before you climb this thing, you are already tired. Then some people are carrying load. So carrying load with this thing, moving up, is another problem.
Many people want shortcuts, so they prefer crossing here than using the pedestrian bridge, but it's not right. It's good to do what is right. The pedestrian bridge is being guided, so there is no need for scaling that you will or fall down or nothing else. So it's being guided by iron, so it's very safe. There's no problem about that. You can use the pedestrian bridge.
I don't think there's any excuse saying it's because of health. I don't think there's any excuse. It's dangerous crossing the express. It's an express, it's not even an ordinary street. And it reduces traffic jam on the road if you use the pedestrian bridge.
If you look at the bridge, for instance, it's quite long. It's quite a distance.
Thousands of protesters took to the streets of Sudanese capital Khartoum on Tuesday to denounce the October military coup that plunged the country into further turmoil. Security forces fired tear gas and canisters at the anti-coup protesters and also spread colored water. Some protesters picked up the bombs and threw them back at the security forces. Tuesday's rally was the latest in a series of protests against military takeover of a civilian-led transitional government. Pro-democracy protesters are calling for an all-civilian government to complete the now-stalled democratic transition. However, the generals insisted they will only hand over power to an elected government. They said the elections will be held next year. Meanwhile, a Sudanese government official on Tuesday said security forces attempted to rape a young woman during a protest against military rule in central Khartoum that has prompted calls for renewed demonstration. Suleiman Ishaku, who heads the Sudan's Violence Against Women unit at the Ministry of Social Development, said the woman was not a protester. She was in commercial bus when forces stationed near the march route fired tear gas, causing passengers to disembark. The woman was then assaulted by several members of the security forces. And outside Africa, Australia's Defence Minister Peter Dutton has called Russian President Vladimir Putin a paranoid and utterly ruthless operator, adding that his invasion of Ukraine has been a miscalculation that may be very well destroy himself. Speaking in Canberra, Dutton also called called out China for failing to condemn Russia's behavior and raising concerns of China's increased presence in Indonesia-Pacific region. He said it's important to redouble efforts in safeguarding security and sovereignty of nations in the region, adding that Australia and the United States are in lockstep in their commitment to regional stability.
It's becoming clear that Putin's Ukrainian gamble has been a miscalculation that may very well destroy the man himself. He has, for one, very seriously underestimated the Ukrainian people. Ukrainians have been unyielding in their resolve to live independent, prosperous and free. Russia has published a long list of states which it considers unfriendly, and that includes Australia, and we should wear that as a badge of honour. But it's in the cyber realm that Putin is most likely to strike. The Kremlin has long sought to weaponise the internet as a means of conducting a form of asymmetric warfare in the post-Soviet era. And so we must expect nations like ours to become the target of escalating cyber attacks. The very worst cyber attacks can, of course, inflict society-wide damage with enduring ramifications.
Ukraine has praised the courage of 3 European leaders who made a long, hazardous journey by rail from Poland to Kyiv in a show of support as the city came under for the Russian attack. The Prime Minister of Poland, Slovenia and Czech Republic met Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky as curfew began in Kyiv, making them the first Western leaders to visit Ukraine since Russia invaded Poland. Mateusz Morawiecki said Europe would never be the same if it lost Ukraine, adding that it would be defeated, humiliated and pathetic version of its former self. And to some business news, the Federal Ministry of Transportation in Delta State has opposed the proposal by the House of Representatives to allocate 12% of the revenue generated by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency to maritime universities. Also, the Nigerian Navy has warned against the proposal to saddle the organization with powers to provide security in maritime sector, saying it will lead to duplication of functions. The Director, Legal Services, Federal Ministry of Transportation, Pius Ote, in his reaction said the proposal failed to recognize that as a public institution regulated by Nigerian University Commission and Federal Ministry of Education, the university would equally be entitled to federal government's budget appropriated by National Assembly annually. And to some entertainment news, Nigerian artist Cynthia Morgan has frowned against comments berating Grammy Award winner, popularly called Burna Boy, whom she described as the biggest artist in Africa, tweeting in respect of Burna Boy's achievement in music industry. She said he thanked God Burna Boy got a Billboard 100 entry. The tweet generated several comments, including that one of Adekunle Fazi, who said Burna Boy was a video vixen for Cynthia Morgan when his colleagues were dealing with bigwigs in the music industry. Responding using a handle, Cynthia Morgan said Burna Boy has always been a big artist. The Football Association says Chelsea have withdrawn a request for Saturday FA Cup at the Middlesbrough to be played behind closed door. Premier League sides are not allowed to sell tickets for any matches after the government froze the asset of Russian-owned Roman Abramovich. The association said Chelsea initially made the request for matters sporting integrity, adding that it remains in an ongoing discussion with the team, the Premier League and the government to find a solution that would enable both Chelsea fans to attend games away, fans to attend the Stamford Bridge while ensuring sanctions are respected. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Bokpo. There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus.